Hello, YouTube. This is Sister Scaleback, coming in on October 16th, 2014 for my 4-month surgiversary. Yay! I made it in 4 months. Who knew? I never thought that 4 months would come so quickly, and everything after surgery just happens so quickly. Time flies by, and one thing I've come to realize is I need to make use of every moment of every day to try to keep improving myself. I'll just start a bit with the stats quickly. I had surgery June 16th, 2014 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. My doctor was Dr. O'Kranick at the Toronto Western Hospital. I have lost 70 pounds from my highest weight, which was 361. 48 pounds since the day of surgery. So I did lose 16 pounds before surgery on OptiFast. It's a liquid shake, protein shake diet that you have to be on before you have surgery in order to shrink your liver and make surgery easier. That was probably the hardest part of this whole process. Being on a liquid diet when you have a full-size stomach screaming at you to feed it. So I have huge sympathy for anyone out there on OptiFast, and just know that this too shall end. And once you get on with your surgery, things will steadily improve day by day. Let's see. A few comorbidities that I had before surgery that I am now either in remission with or have gotten rid of completely. I was and still am type 2 diabetic, however it is in remission, so I no longer take medication for it. My sugars are very stable, 6s, and that's just literally since the day of surgery. I left the hospital not taking metformin. It seems to be a very common thing. They don't know exactly why it happens, but it does reset your body. And you're also on a very low-carb diet when you first leave the hospital too, so that probably has something to do with it. And there's usually about a 5-year window after surgery where most people remain in remission. The more you dabble in carbs after that or during that first 5 years, the more you risk the comorbidity of diabetes coming back. So that's something that I always think about and try to worry about. Well, I mean, not try to worry about, but try to plan for and stick to the complex high fiber carbs and have very little. I was very high blood pressure before surgery. I was such high blood pressure that there were a few times they thought I was having a heart attack and ran tests on me. And after I woke up, off my blood pressure meds. Literally 120/80, which is exactly the perfect blood pressure. That is what I woke up at after surgery. And I've been pretty much that ever since. So I'm off 2 blood pressure meds from that. I always have trouble with it. GERD is the short form, but gastroesophageal reflux disease. I had that before surgery. Once you have RNY in your stomach that becomes this big, you don't get the stomach acid, and that is literally erased. I no longer have GERD. Terrific. Swelling of the ankles is dramatically improved, if not completely gone. Just I have the odd day where I do retain water, but that's terrific because I used to hate wearing socks, and I'm sure most diabetics out there will agree with me. It just bothered me, and now I can actually wear socks and it's not as painful as it was. And then the other 2 things that I still have but have drastically improved, knee deterioration, of course, from lugging around 360 pounds for years, but it is getting less painful as I lose the weight. And asthma. Asthma has been in remission, but if I work out, they call it exercise-induced asthma, and it does flare up. So, but it's not as bad as it used to be. It used to keep me from walking and exercising before. Now, at least, it's manageable. A couple of things to you pre-ops out there or people who are considering having the surgery. So I've lost 70 pounds from my highest weight in 4 months, and you're probably thinking, wow, yay! That is a lot of weight. And you might think, well, when I have the surgery, or if I have the surgery, I'm going to lose that kind of weight too. Everybody's different. Everybody loses at different speeds, but the average, I would say, is 1 or 2 pounds a week. It's not the 10 pounds a week, week over week over week that you hear some of these, shows on TV, My 600-Pound Life. Keep in mind, the heavier you are, the bigger you are, the more you will lose in the beginning. The faster you will lose in the beginning. So I have weeks where I lose 7 pounds, but as I'm losing the weight, my rate of loss will slow down. And then eventually, 1 to 2 years out, it will pretty much slow right down. And you really have to work at it after that to maintain. Maintenance is one of the hardest parts of the whole journey, so I hear. So right now I'm just focusing on getting that weight off. I'm starting to exercise. I'm starting to walk. Maximize the moment. It's one of my favorite phrases, and it's something that I'm learning to live and not just say. So again, don't expect huge losses every week. Yes, there are weeks I stall and I don't lose any. There are weeks that I've gained a pound or 2. It always comes back off again. It's a learning curve. You learn what you can do, what you can't do. It's just like any other diet, really, except there is a bit of a lean in your favor towards losing because of this metabolic reset that the surgery gives you. It cuts nerves in your stomach, literally, that send signals to the brain from your stomach saying, feed me, feed me, feed me. And this is literally your stomach tells you, dictates to your brain the cravings you have, what you want, how much you want. And this surgery cuts those nerves so that transmission is stopped, which is why most people who have had this surgery don't experience much hunger. After a year or 2, that does come back. Sometimes 6 months, it comes back. Your body figures out how to work around what you do to it. Funny as that is, but it's true. And so you have this grace period that before it figures it out completely, your furnace is in high gear. Your brain wakes up after surgery and says, you are way overfed. So I'm making it so you are no longer hungry. Look at how big you are. We're going to just start dropping those pounds because we got to get that weight off you. Everyone has a predetermined weight that's supposed to be their ideal weight. And when you wake up from surgery, your brain immediately gets set back to that weight and recognizes that you're not at that weight, and it compensates and starts losing. This is why the surgery works the way it does. There's a really good doctor on YouTube who explains it. I don't do as good a job as he does. Dr. Weiner, I think is his name. And he's out of Detroit. So if you look up him on YouTube, he does a fabulous job at explaining that metabolic reset. Some mental changes. My husband said to me the other day, you have changed. And that took me by surprise, to be honest with you. And it's because when we go out, my first focus is not where can we go to have something to eat, or, part of our entertainment would be what restaurant can we go to? What can we have today? Or even what can we cook together today? And my focus is no longer on food. My focus is actually tilting towards exercise and fitness and other things. Just, theater. I'd like to travel a bit, like things that are not related to food. I do use a Fitbit. Oh, well, there you go. I use the Fitbit for tracking my walking. I also use it for tracking my sleep. And I track my calories on my FitnessPal. Those are very important things to do. It keeps you in line and lets you know when you've gone off track. I keep very low fat, low sugar. You have to with this surgery, otherwise you will feel very sick. It's called dumping syndrome. Fortunately, I do not dump often because I avoid sugar like the plague. Being type 2 diabetic taught me that I don't want to go back to it. So I avoid sugar. I do have carbs. I try to keep them complex, high fiber carb, or low carb products. What else can I say? I highly recommend anybody who wants to change their life to have this surgery. This surgery has made a world of difference in my health. I couldn't have asked for a better outcome. I really couldn't have asked for a better outcome. I would do it again, and it's so worth it. It is so worth it. So I still have another 100 pounds to go. I am 291 pounds. I'd like to be, well, at least under 200. That's my goal. And I know I'm going to get there. Positive, people. Stay positive and work hard for what you want, and it'll happen. And this surgery is not a miracle cure. It will not be 100%. You can't just sit there and do nothing and expect to get to your goal weight. Let's just put it that way. But it helps you. Helps you a lot better than all those other gimmicks that I went through for the last 10, 15, 20 years. All those different programs and all the money I wasted and all the crap I put in my body trying to fix this disease of obesity. And all it took was a little snip of 2 little nerves in my stomach, and the reset is on. So, 4-month surgiversary, guys. I hope you all have a great week. And thanks so much for subscribing to my channel. I love all you guys. You guys have been the best support for me. And that's something that I also want to talk about quickly is you need to have people who are going to support you in this. If you're going to have surgery and people all around you are negative and down on you, well, you might have to think about finding people, other people who are not, because you do need support. Highly important. And YouTube is a great resource. Facebook is another great resource. Lots of groups out there. And you find out real quick who your real friends are as well. So have a great week, guys. Come back next week for my 18-week, I think. Yeah, 18-week update. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.